Imagine you are standing at the starting line of a race, but instead of just going faster, the real trick is figuring out how to run smarter. That's essentially what DeepSeek V4 is doing right now in the AI world. While everyone else is focused on building bigger, more powerful models like the recent launches from OpenAI and Anthropic, DeepSeek is taking a different approach. They not just chasing scale. They optimizing for efficiency, and that's where things get interesting. DeepSeek V4 isn't just another big model. It's a preview release of two mixture of experts models designed to handle massive amounts of context, up to 1 million tokens, without the usual computational heavy lifting. The first DeepSeek V4 Pro is a beast with 1.6 trillion parameters, but only 49 billion are active at any given time. Then there's DeepSeek V4 Flash, a leaner version with 284 billion total parameters and just 13 billion activated. Both are built to be cost-effective, which is a game changer when you think about how much it costs to run these models at scale. The real innovation here isn't just the size or the context window, it's how DeepSeek is making it work. Traditional models struggle with long contexts because they have to store and process every single token, which clogs up memory and slows everything down. DeepSeek's solution: a hybrid attention system that combines compressed sparse attention and heavily compressed attention. This means the model doesn't need to hold onto every piece of information like a digital hoarder. It's smarter about what it keeps and what it discards, making long conversations, coding sessions, or research tasks actually feasible without breaking the bank. And it's not just about theory. DeepSeek V4 Pro isn't just good, it's leading the pack in open source models when it comes to reasoning, coding, and even agentic tasks. It's closing the gap with some of the biggest closed source models out there, all while being more affordable. DeepSeek V4 Flash isn't far behind in reasoning capabilities, and with its smaller footprint, it's perfect for when you need something faster and cheaper. Both models are now live ready to be tested and available through DeepSeek's API or chat interface. This isn't just about keeping up with the Joneses, it's about proving that in AI efficiency can be just as powerful as raw power, and if DeepSeek has its way, we might all be running that race a little smarter from now on. Imagine you've ever tried to carry a heavy backpack while hiking. Every step feels like a struggle, and you constantly adjusting what you carrying to keep moving forward. That's kind of what happens when you try to process really long sequences of information in a language model. The more tokens or pieces of data you throw at it, the heavier the load becomes and the slower everything gets. DeepSeek V4 doesn't just add more muscle to the backpack. It redesigns how the weight is distributed in the first place. Here's the clever part: DeepSeek V4's attention mechanism isn't just bigger, it's smarter. It's built around something called hybrid attention architecture, which blends two techniques: compressed sparse attention, or CSA, and heavily compressed attention, or HCA. Think of it like having two different ways of organizing your notes for a big exam. Some details, like the key points you'll need to recall right away, you keep front and center sharp and ready. Other information, like background facts or less critical details, you summarize or compress so it doesn't slow you down. The model does the same thing. CSA takes care of the fine-grained details, focusing on the most relevant parts of the context with precision. But even then, not every piece of information needs the same level of attention. That's where HCA comes in. It aggressively compresses the rest, reducing the memory footprint without losing the big picture. The result: when DeepSeek V4 processes 1 million tokens, yes, a million. The computational cost drops to just 27% of what it would be if it were handling each token individually, and the memory savings even more dramatic, only 10% of the key value cache needed compared to the previous version. This isn't just about squeezing efficiency out of thin air. It's about understanding that not all information is equally important. At every step, the model learns to prioritize what matters most while letting go of what doesn't, all without sacrificing the depth of reasoning. It's like upgrading from a single-lane highway to a smart traffic system that routes the most important vehicles directly while keeping the flow smooth for everyone else. And the best part, this isn't some radical new idea dropped out of nowhere. It builds on earlier work like the Ingram module, which showed how to manage long-term memory in models without overwhelming them. DeepSeek v4 just takes that idea further, making it even more efficient and scalable. The result is a model that can handle massive context lengths without breaking a sweat or your budget. You ever notice how some people seem to get better at things, not just by practicing more, but by figuring out the right way to practice? That's kind of what DeepSeek v4 does with training. Instead of just throwing more data at a model and hoping for the best, they've built a two-step process that's almost like teaching a student by first breaking down the subject into specialized skills, then bringing it all together. Here's how it works. First, they take the model and train smaller specialized versions on specific tasks, coding, math, even complex workflows. Think of it like training a chef who's an expert in one cuisine, then another who's a master of desserts, rather than just one general cook who's okay at everything but not great at anything. These specialized models get fine-tuned with both regular instruction tuning and something called GRPO, which helps them learn to reason better. It's like giving each expert a chance to really hone their craft. Then, in the second step, they combine all those experts into one unified model. But here's the clever part: they don't just average them out. Instead, they use a method called on-policy distillation, which means the final model doesn't just inherit the strengths of each expert. It learns how to coordinate them. It's like taking those specialized chefs and teaching them how to work together in a kitchen, so the whole team performs better than any one of them alone. The result? DeepSeek v4 Pro Max isn't just another big language model. It's a powerhouse when it comes to tasks that require real-world problem-solving, especially in coding. Benchmarks like BigCodeBench show it's closing the gap with closed-source models like Gemini 3.1 Pro, where it achieves a pass-1 score of 59.2, proof that this two-stage approach actually works. It's not just about size or raw power, it's about smart training, where the model learns to think like an expert in multiple domains before putting it all together. And the best part, this isn't just theory. You can see it in action right now, whether you're using DeepSeek v4 Pro for deep reasoning or DeepSeek v4 Flash for faster, more efficient tasks. The underlying training pipeline ensures you're getting a model that's not just big but thoughtful. It's a reminder that in AI, sometimes the real innovation isn't about more, it's about better. You ever notice how sometimes the biggest leaps forward don't just mean getting bigger? They mean getting smarter about how you use what you've got. That's exactly what DeepSeek v4 is doing. It's not just about throwing more computing power at the problem, it's about refining the way the model processes information, making it sharper, more efficient. And here's the kicker: still able to outperform some of the biggest names in the industry. Take world knowledge, for instance. Models used to struggle with the idea that facts aren't just static, they're interconnected. DeepSeek v4 doesn't just memorize information. It understands how different pieces fit together. Look at the numbers on benchmarks like MMLU Pro, where older versions scored around 65.5, V4 Pro jumps to 73.5. That's not a small improvement, that's a real shift in how well it grasps and applies knowledge, and it's not just about raw numbers. The model handles complex reasoning tasks with ease, whether it's solving math problems or understanding nuanced language patterns. It's like upgrading from a basic calculator to a device that can explain why the answer makes sense now. Here's where things get really interesting. DeepSeek V4 doesn't just come in one flavor, it comes in two. You've got DeepSeek V4 Pro, the heavyweight with 1.6 trillion parameters, and DeepSeek V4 Flash, the leaner version with 284 billion parameters. But here's the thing: Flash isn't just a smaller sibling. It punches well above its weight on reasoning tasks. It holds its own against Pro, and in coding benchmarks it's closing the gap with proprietary models that cost a fortune to use. It's like having both a high-performance sports car and a reliable sedan. Each excels in its own way, but both get you where you need to go efficiently. The real magic, though, is in how it handles long context. Imagine trying to read a 100-page document and still remember the key points from the beginning by the end. That's the challenge for models dealing with massive amounts of information. DeepSeek V4 tackles this by compressing attention without losing clarity. It's not just about storing more data, it's about storing the right data and making sure the model can access it quickly. That's why you see it handling 1 million tokens with ease, all while keeping costs down. Its efficiency redefined. So what does all this mean for you? It means better, faster, and more cost-effective AI tools that don't just keep up, they set the pace. Whether you're a developer writing code, a researcher digging into complex problems, or just someone who wants an AI that actually understands what you're asking, DeepSeek V4 is delivering results that rival the best in the business. And the best part, it's all open source, meaning you're not just getting a product, you're getting the tools to build something even better. You ever wonder what happens when you build something so efficient that it doesn't just run faster? It makes the whole system around it smarter. That's the quiet revolution happening with DeepSeek V4. And it's not just about the model itself, it's about how it's reshaping the very machines and infrastructure that power AI. Think of it like upgrading your home's wiring, not just to handle more power, but to do it in a way that actually makes your whole house more energy efficient. That's what DeepSeek V4 is doing for AI hardware. The real magic here isn't just in the model's design, though it's in how it forces hardware to evolve alongside it. Traditional AI systems have always chased bigger, faster chips, but DeepSeek V4 is pushing something different: optimization over brute force, the model's hybrid attention architecture doesn't just crunch through data, it's designed to work with the hardware, reducing the gap between what the model needs and what the machine can actually deliver. Huawei's Ascend 950 supernode clusters, for instance, where NT just upgraded to run DeepSeek V4. They were rethought to match its needs. The result: less wasted compute, less energy, and systems that don't just keep up but actually get better as the model scales. Now here's where it gets interesting. DeepSeek V4 isn't just efficient for the big players, it's rewriting the rules for everyone else too, because of its memory smart kernels like the FP4 and FP8 mixed precision. It doesn't just run on expensive supercomputers, it runs on anything from a startup's cloud server to an enterprise's internal tools. Imagine a legal firm analyzing a massive contract, or a developer reviewing an entire codebase without breaking the bank. That's the kind of practical efficiency DeepSeek V4 brings to the table. It's not just about pushing the limits of what's possible, it's about making those limits irrelevant for the right kind of work. And that's the real shift here. For years, AI infrastructure was all about scaling up, throwing more power at problems. But DeepSeek V4 is proving there's another way, scaling smarter. It's a model that doesn't just demand more from its hardware. It makes the hardware better by using it. That's not just a technical detail, it's a whole new way of thinking about how AI should grow. Imagine you're in a room where everyone else is paying top dollar just to turn on a light. But you walk in and find a switch that doesn't just work, it works better for a fraction of the cost. That's what DeepSeek V4 is doing for AI. It's not just another model, it's a game changer, because it makes powerful AI accessible without breaking the bank. The numbers tell the story. While some of the biggest names in AI charge fortunes for even basic tasks, DeepSeek V4 slashes those costs dramatically, especially when it comes to handling massive amounts of information like processing 1 million tokens at once. That's not just efficiency, it's a revolution in affordability. This isn't just about saving money, though. It's about unlocking possibilities that were once out of reach for smaller teams, startups, or even individual researchers. Before DeepSeek V4, long context tasks like analyzing dense documents, debugging complex codebases, or breaking down intricate datasets could be prohibitively expensive. Now, the same kind of reasoning power is within reach for anyone willing to experiment. It's like going from a clunky heavy tool to something sleek and precise, where the real magic isn't in the raw size of the model, but in how cleverly it's built. And here's where it gets even more interesting. DeepSeek V4 isn't just efficient, it's open. That means anyone can download the weights, tweak them, or build on top of them without paying a licensing fee. It's a rare thing in AI, where proprietary models often lock users into expensive subscriptions. With DeepSeek, the door is wide open, not just for developers, but for educators, healthcare professionals, or even small businesses looking to integrate AI into their workflows. It's a step toward democratizing technology, where innovation isn't dictated by who can afford the most expensive tools, but by who can think the most creatively. Of course, no technology is without its challenges. There's the matter of how models evolve over time, like the upcoming retirement of older versions, which means users will need to adapt. But those are the small bumps on the road to something much bigger. DeepSeek V4 isn't just about today's tasks, it's about the future. Imagine doctors analyzing patient records with unprecedented detail, students learning from AI tutors that can handle entire textbooks at once, or developers writing and debugging code with an assistant that understands the full context of their project. That's the kind of potential we read talking about here. Potential that's not just for the elite, but for anyone with the curiosity to explore it.